I'm here with Kaigu from Mineski. Congratulations on the win. How do you feel knowing you've locked in C for the finals?
Of course, I'm really happy that we've locked in C for the finals, and I hope we can do better.
Do better?
Yeah.
I feel like you've got a strong start to the day. How does it feel knowing you've kicked out Japan as well?
It feels good and bad at the same time. It's bad because we're really good friends with Japan. We're scrim partners, and of course, it also feels good to be in the finals.
And how do you fare your chances against the OS region tomorrow?
I think it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm. You picked Aatrox this game. Aatrox we've seen now, I believe, 3 times in the tournament, 2 wins and a loss. What was it about Aatrox? How do you rate him as a hero?
I think he's just a really good counter pick to tanks, especially Mundo, because of his passive.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fantastic. Cool. Well, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on everything, the dominance that you guys are beginning to show, and we cannot wait for tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
I'll see you guys after the highlights.
Only flashes forward. That's a good ultimate. However, great flick coming out of Jun. We'll get into safety. James going over the wall. And Gary is in there as Swain. He is a huge bird. Will be able to explode eventually. However, sticking in the crow form for a very long time. Goes golden as well. Flick is there. Decoy also should fall down. Fiddle. And in comes Fiddle. That is so much damage. Gets locked in the middle. Will get dragged back even after the flash. Kaigu can use the ultimate if he so pleases. And they say, get back here. Claire will take some big damage. Sleepy Trouble Bubble there onto Decoy. Will go pop. Claire will just get out with his life. Now on the backline, Raid looking for a Decoy. Under fire, Kaigu is just flapping his wings and only cannot run fast enough. Very nice rip back. Gary in the front line will go into Demonic Ascension. May fall down, but the rest of the team now in. James will go golden. And Kaigu is here looking to take over the back of this team fight. Gets 1 kill. Make that a double. And it is only Claire and only left available. And Claire will get deleted off the map. And with that, they will turn their attention onto Only, but really what they should be focusing on is Thursday because they have secured Southeast Asia's spot in Rift Rivals.
The mighty tree has fallen, and with it the hopes and dreams of Japan have come crashing down. We will get to the game in a second, but before we do, what went wrong for Japan this tournament?
I think a lot of it was just trouble adapting to the meta. We've seen all of the successful teams just be able to play such high-tempo League of Legends and be very aggressive, and historically that's not how Japan's performed. So I think that when they have looked good, they've tried to go early. Maybe they've had a little bit of difficulty with that, and the late-game playstyle just wasn't able to shine through.
Back to the game, because it was something to behold. 3rd seed Mineski from last tournament, they're a different team this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gigabyte Marines were the only Southeast Asian team to actually take a game at last year's Rift Rivals, so something certainly has changed there. And I think that that's what we expected out of the Southeast Asian teams. That aggression, the cohesive team fighting, the ability to go forward, 5 members making one fist and just absolutely smashing Legacy. I really hope that the other Southeast Asian teams were watching it and like, yes, that is our brand of League of Legends. That's how we want to play and can bring the fight to Oceania.
I mean, in an interview with the Southeast Asian player yesterday, he was saying that they played around with playing defensive for the first couple of games. It just wasn't working. They needed to go back to what they knew.
Yeah, no one likes to play defensive. I mean, it's boring. You lose focus. I mean, it's not what you're used to. I think that aggressive League of Legends, and especially if you are an aggressive team, it's just so hard to suppress those tendencies, and that's where teams make mistakes. So I'm so happy that they're back to just going forward.
And do you feel like heading into tomorrow, there is a chance that Legacy will be facing off against Mineski again? How does that defeat, or in terms of Mineski, how does that win shake up OSA's confidence?
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden you have a legitimate 3rd seed contender that you have to worry about, maybe even if you're the Chiefs, maybe even if you are the Direwolves. And I think that Legacy will be hoping for the rematch because they would want to show a better showing. That's not the best League of Legends Legacy can play. But for Mineski now being undefeated, I mean, that's a big confidence boost. And as I said, I hope really the rest of Southeast Asia can look to mimic that recipe.
It's looking like Mineski are the tectonic of this tournament.
Potentially. Before we throw back, you promised me a hug.
Oh, yeah.
Earlier today because I was a little bit sad.
Look, you haven't seen your kid in like a week.
Like a week. I am a little bit down.
Do you want a warm hug?
Yeah, are we going to toss it back to the desk first?
No, let's do the hug first because I think the audience wants to see that. And we'll get a big, we're getting some claps from the VIPs.
That is nice.
I'll come up to you guys next. Thank you very much. Up next, we've got Ascension versus DFM. Who are you tipping?
I think that DFM will throw something crazy out here. I really hope we see a Zillion out of Seros. It's always been one of these big champions. Udapon plays a mean vein as well a lot of the time in solo queue, so I just want them to come up with something funky, play a fun composition, and really show people, you know, the LJL hasn't played their best brand of League of Legends, but there is better things to come.
Well, in my interview with Seros, he did say that they had a surprise up their sleeves for Ascension, so let's find out if that is the case.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Hello, everybody. My name is Jake Hiprain Matthews, and here joining me on the cast desk is Zach Rusty Pie. I hope I get a hug from you, by the way.
We're not doing it right now. We'll
no, not right now. No,
it's too much pressure. That was
no,
a
because we've
perfect
got
hug.
a game to get into. That
So
is obviously
wholesome.
going to be Ascension taking on Detonation Focus Me. Even though Detonation and the rest of the LJL are out of the runnings, they are serious. They said they want to win this game.
Yeah.
It's pride at this point.
I mean, for Detonation Focus Me and for all of the LJL, every international tournament that we have seen them go to, and of course they have ultimately fallen down, they come into the games that usually will be like, they mean nothing. They play deadly seriously. They play to win. They play to still represent the LJL to the highest order that they possibly can. Whereas Ascension on the opposite side, the hard work's been done by Mineski. Now they can do whatever they please, and I'm curious to know if they'll take it as seriously as Detonation Focus Me, or if they play some abstract things.
Well, first of all, Ascension Gaming. Let's have a little look at the lineup. It's Rocky in the top lane, Delpan is the jungle, G4 in the mid, and it's Lloyd and Rich in the bot lane.
And we saw some positive signs from Ascension Gaming in their earlier one today when they played against the Chiefs. Now, they did lose that game, but those positives remained. The bottom lane was what I looked at personally. I thought Lloyd had a fantastic showing on the Swain and stepped up to the plate.
Let's have a little look at their opposing team. It is obviously Detonation Focus Me from Japan. Eddie in the top lane, Steel is their jungler, Ceres in the mid, Yorapon and Vivid is their bot lane.
Yeah, now Detonation Focus Me did win their game. Seros had the Heimerdinger, and Spawn mentioned the Zillion. He was also the first player to go mid-gangplank, and he got a pentakill in that game. If you don't know Seros, then you should know that he plays some weird champions, and that's normal for them. Even in the interview afterwards, he was like, this is just what we do.
And Seros, to be fair, had a great game one, day one. Showed up on the Aurelia, he was like 11-1, ended that game like 11-0, but he went really, sorry, he was 7-1, went like 11-4 or whatever, but he looked absolutely great. We are through into picks and bans. We're not going to get high middling at this time. Ascension have seen that and they want absolutely nothing to do with it.
You hate to see it. That's just mean.
Well, I found out that you can toggle his run. I didn't know you could do that. I actually didn't know. Lulu going to get removed away from the side of Detonation. Wonder if we got any spicy picks for Detonation. You know, Seros, like you said, likes to play some of those crazier, wackier mid lanes, knowing how much, you know, is off the line for them, but still want to play serious. Maybe you want to pull some cheese and win that way. We are going to see the Nocturne remove once again. Remains 100% picked banned.
I'm never going to contest the idea of some Gouda thrown around early into this now that it doesn't mean a lot, but they still want to get that victory. Play something wacky, something crazy. Surprise your opponents. Aatrox was the best example of that earlier in this tournament. You see it picked and you're like, I have no idea what the hell that does. But it did a lot of good things because it's not that bad of a champion, according to one Smork.
Well, he's got a 2-1 scoreboard on the weekend.
Not that bad of a scoreline.
So he's done pretty well. Vladimir, Talia, and Camille are the final bans locked in by both sides in Ascension. They're going to pick up their first pick here. Swain is open, and Swain is what they're going to take.
Yeah, Swain available. Zoe also up and available as well to be picked towards the middle lane. Now, if Seros can play it, it would not be a bad choice for them at all. But, of course, there's a couple of cheesy picks available for Seros, so I'm not sure how much I want to see the Zoe in the first place.
The Aurelia is still open for him if he wants to get his hands on that. I mean, for Ascension, they're going to be dead serious in this game. They lost their first game of the day, and they're looking to bounce back. Yeah, man. You know, you lost your game. You want to come out swinging. You want to look strong. You know, you don't want to go into tomorrow, the finals, on a 2-0 day, the 0-2 day, sorry, the day before. Detonation Focus Me. Going to lock in the Kaiser Karma. Could potentially see a funnel.
I have a pretty high idea, yeah, that's a word. High chance they play a funnel, now that I can speak English again.
I'm glad you remembered.
The Morgana also available, so if I was Ascension Gaming, the one thing I would be picking now is Morgana and just throwing it into a lane as necessary. Deny the 3 support combo, or you could pick Rakan.
Yep, or you could lock in that Rakan. Xayah is still up and available as well, so if Ascension wanted to go for their own potential funnel, you could do the Rakan Xayah. But the fact they've got the Swain does make it a little bit harder because you're not going to be stacking supports to keep the Xayah alive.
Yeah, you'll be putting the Swain in the middle lane, so Xayah Rakan is still a strong duo of its own accord. Maybe that is something they will consider. However, we have seen the Kaisers go into different lanes running the Smite, not just the bottom 2v2. And we'll have to see how it plays out for Ascension.
Ascension going to finally lock in the Trundle as their last pick. And here comes the Morgana for Detonation Focus Me.
I'm shocked.
Oh, flaming hell, we're going to have ourselves a funnel comp, aren't we?
That was actually surprisingly Australian from you.
Flaming hell?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite a Midlands thing from England.
Okay, that wasn't English. I don't even know what that was.
What?
Mid what?
Midlands.
Oh, okay.
It's the middle part of the country. You know how my country, well, the country I'm from is like tall and skinny? There's like a north, a middle, and a south.
Reminiscent of the people of the country.
Getting smarter as you go further down.
Oh, so you're from the south?
Yeah, I am from the south. Anyway, Zaya and Dr. Mundo are going to get banned away here. Mundo, even though he did get pretty hard stomped in that last game, is not going to be allowed for it.
I mean, perhaps it just shows that Rocky doesn't want to pick the likes of the Aatrox. Of course, the Yasuo being removed is very strong into Guinzoo's champions and into the funnel compositions. If you can find the mark, perhaps have a composition. Note that Rakan is incredibly good with it, not just like the Alistar we saw from the Chiefs earlier when they had that combo going on. It looked wonderful like that. Rakan is even easier to force the engages on.
Yasuo banned out, followed up by the Braum. So that's our bans all done. And Unipon looking to pick up probably another support or a top laner for Detonation right now. I think you'll save your top lane for the counter pick, realistically, because you know you're just going to be getting a third support at this point. You know you're going to be getting whoever's going to be running around with this.
Well, I'd like a Shen, you know, if you're going to pick it. We know that the Nunu exists. It tends to indicate that the Kaiser will be going to the middle lane. And then you can have the Kaiser Nunu run around together. Nunu tends to stay behind, but he has a blood boil, so it doesn't matter all that much. I'd love to see a Shen in that comp. Just give him an extra shield and try and have more shield than you can health. Very difficult to deal with a Kaiser then.
How silly are we going to look if it's like a Karma mid and it's just a normal bot lane?
Yeah,
just a Nunu
but
jungle.
then what's your Nunu going to be doing? Because Nunu's not that great by himself. You kind of need to put him with a Kaiser.
Anyway, Lucian gets locked in for Ascension. They're going to be picking up their final champion. Most likely going to be their top laner. And that's what I want to see.
Bans, but we haven't really seen Darius picked, and it does super well into tanks, which makes me wonder what will Heavy do on the flip side as a response to the Darius.
Going to be that Darius for Ascension in the top lane. Now, Evie does get counter pick into that. What's available to him? What can he take here?
Well, it makes me wonder, would he counter, firstly, when they're playing for the composition? Or would he not just pick a tank and try and survive through that?
Well,
there's always the opportunity for something like this. I would like to see the cannon.
Okay, they're going for that full big old wombo combo. Cannon will be able to put that slicing Maelstrom down to set up Seros. He's going to be going into the mid lane on that Kaiser.
Yeah, hard thing to deal with as well is, actually, we don't know which person's playing the Kaiser yet. We'd expect Udapon, but he's also running Heal Exhaust, so it may just be Steel playing it. We'll see.
Looks like Seros might be playing support here. I mean, Smite's still on Steel. So Steel actually will be getting funneled.
You're all
Seros
confusing
is going to
me.
be the support here.
There we
go. Okay, there we go, there we go.
Udapon should be running around with Steel regardless of where these champions go. Nunu should be with the Kaiser, so let's just keep that in mind whilst they sit there and play games with our mind. Of course, for the Ascension side, G4 is going to be playing the Swain. You've got a Lucian Rakan in the bottom lane against what will be a Morgana Karma. It's a hard life to be Lucian Rakan into that lane if you don't get going early.
So, we've had ourselves 2 funnel comps here now at Rift Rivals. I want to know, how do you deal with this? Because Mineski steamrolled the game, they did the funnel. And this time, it will be the LJL running their own funnel. If you're on the side of Ascension, what are you doing? How are you countering this? How are you dealing with it?
I mean, steamroll is a pretty harsh term for what happened in that game because they started super slow. They started super passively and tried to scale into it, buying things like a QSS as their second item to ensure they don't die. Hit late game. That's always the game plan. If you're playing the Kaiser funnel composition, let's just say, 30-odd minutes in the game, get 3 items, 3.5, push for 4, and try and beat your opponents there because you will have all of those items that they absolutely will not. The Kaiser can carry. So if you're on the opposite side, which in this case will be Ascension, very obviously win before that point, try and scale up early, or hit that point, kill her anyway, because you've got champions like a Darius that may be able to get it done.
Well, we've taken to the Summoner's Rift for the 4th game of the day. Detonation Focus Me wanting to make a statement here with this funnel comp. And Ascension just want to get themselves a win on the day going into those grand finals tomorrow. Live here at the State Theatre in Sydney. If you haven't already picked a ticket up, make sure you head over to the OPL website and get yourself one.
I mean, honestly, if you don't have a ticket, I have no idea what you're doing. You should
Neither
probably
do I.
have a ticket.
Even I have a ticket.
You're on stage, bro. You don't have a ticket at all.
That is my ticket.
Fair enough.
It's a backstage pass.
Still not a ticket.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Right, anyway, let's have a little look at the game. Vivid and Udapon are setting up in a bush. Great ward by Lloyd.
Oh, they got it. They got the ward. 10 gold in the pocket of the Morgana. Of course, it's not going to be these two leaning together, whilst that is what you see on the screen. Instead, now 4 of them have Detonation Focus Me. Come up, Lloyd.
If I'm Lloyd, I'm very, very scared. Very hesitant to step forward.
And Delpain also starts with Chomp, so he's not going to have a pillar. Here they go. Detonation Focus Me. 4 strong. Will Ascension spot it?
Well, they're going to be spotted out now. Lloyd needs to be careful. If that binding connects, that will be a dead Lucian. Not going to be the case. And Udapon will step forward. That's going to be the steal by steal with the smite. And a great start to Detonation.
Yeah, I mean, it's mildly upsetting that the Morgana binding didn't connect, but because they did get the camp, they can now start on the enemy side of the map. Note that they took the big chicken, and they're just going to go towards that middle lane and try and get there as soon as possible. We've seen some interesting adaptations and what have you to the funnel start, such as a support who has a Relic Shield starting in the middle lane, hard pushing it and trying to open themselves up to perhaps taking 2v2s as Delpain, instead of going to his own jungle, chooses to go to the enemy one and leash a red buff for them.
What's that, 2
Because he wants to be level 1 for about 6 minutes.
It's a bit of a hard start for him.
Just really feeling that level 1.
Stepping towards the Rift Scuttler. Don't know if the ward actually spotted him out, so Detonation actually won't be getting this for now. But even so, he's still very, very far behind.
2 minutes and 30 seconds into the game.
That's very far behind.
And he's just ticked over to level 2 off the first camp, which was the Scuttle. Scuttle does get a lot of XP now, so fair enough.
And
He was
about
able to go for that one, but wasted a lot of time going towards the red buff.
We're actually seeing Steel picking up his blue buff now. We'll probably head down towards that Scuttle Crab afterwards and then go catch the wave in the mid. Expect a slower tempo start if you're on Detonation. You don't really want to be doing too much quite yet. Want to get a couple of items on the Kai'Sa as fast as possible. But if you're Ascension, you want to be pulling the trigger. You want to try and take this game over, because this is the key thing about playing into a funnel comp. You actually don't have to worry about an enemy jungler because they're non-existent. So your jungler is pretty much free to roam around the map and make the plays in the side lanes where the Kai'Sa and where the Nunu won't be.
I mean, the difficulties with that is if they just know where your jungler is, can you really make those plays? And you note that you're correct, Steel and Udapon will spend most of their time visible in the middle lane and then going to the jungle. But they could go to your jungle and it's very difficult for you to take that 2v2, especially with G4 playing this Swain, having to use his spells to stay in the lane. Runs out of mana, has a very rough time through the early game. And this is a place that, for anything, if anywhere on the map, Ascension could be aggressive towards, it's the top lane. Because Evi's picking to control his lane, he's picking to take the 1v1, where the rest of the comp is about letting Steel scale.
Well, Delpain wanted to go in for that gank, but Rocky just had such a big wave crashing into him, he didn't want to sacrifice it for basically what would mean Evi's flash. So he's going to take a bit of a step back as there's a teleport coming through. That is just Lloyd rejoining the lane. Rejoining the Farm Fest, which is this bot lane for the moment. It's pretty much more of the same.
And a cheeky little sidestep there from Lloyd on the teleport to make sure that the empowered Q from Karma would not connect with it. Nice little stuff there. And of course, that was the teleport of the Lucian, so he's not going to have that up. And he's having a pretty rough time in that bottom lane already. This is one of those starts of the game where you're really not feeling yourself if you're Ascension. Lucian down 12 CS. Karma has the teleport to come back in at any moment also. And they've got the scaling with the Kai'Sa.
Well, they tried to push that mid lane in, not knowing where Steel was, just seeing if they could try and deny him some CS, but he was able to get there in time and pick up pretty much the majority of this wave. G4's just going to teleport back to lane. Delpain once again spotted on a ward at the Tribush.
Maybe just goes towards him. Delpain level 3. Having a rough time on Summoner's Rift. It's level 5, level 6 now from the Kai'Sa. 3-level difference. He needs to leech mid-experience for 4 from the looks of it as well. That's a bad start.
Delpain in a horrible position. And DFM, if only we saw this in some of their earlier games, they would have had a little bit more flexibility coming in today, and potentially LJL could have been in a better setting coming into this.
Yeah, maybe. Of course, Kai'Sa very often finds herself banned. It's not something that you very freely give away to your opponents. Ender was picked on red side, so not first pick, as Ascension looking towards the bottom lane.
Gonna throw down the pillar. Bobby is looking to go in for the arrest. The two-man knockup will be blocked out by the Black Shield. Delpain wants first blood, but he can't quite connect it in time as a binding does land on him. Now Lloyd with the flashing and dashing and all of the damage coming out, not gonna be enough.
They step up a bit much there. Detonation focus me their bottom lane 2v2. Of course, the Morgana spell shield hits himself. Vivid is able to stay alive. Lloyd was focusing him, whilst Delpain was going towards the Karma. So good damage across the board, but not committing onto the same person. Means they are able to walk away in the end and just go back to base and come back rather happy.
Every time Delpain's tried to make a map appearance, tried to do something for the team, he just hasn't been able to do so because of the warding from Detonation has spotted him out. Delpain now very, very low. Needs to be a little bit careful. Void Seeker by Steel is going to go a little bit wide.
No mana, no health, no experience. Delpain's having a roughie here. As Rich trying to spot them at the red buff, knows full well they could be doing it.
Yep, we'll have the full information as he throws that Q out, scouting them out. The rest of the team are trying to make their way up. Blast Cone has connected. Steel, remember, Steel has the Void Assault, and now with those Void stacks on, can dive in with the Killer Instinct.
Yeah, separates the star-crossed lovers of Udapon and Steel in this case. Not going to be the duo of Zaya or Khan. But the first thing that they do is run back towards each other, regroup, go towards mid lane, even giving the control ward to Steel. He's taken everything and more. Udapon, it doesn't feel comfortable, you know, to be an AD carry whose role is to be a Nunu bot and just walk around hovering next to your jungler in this case. Usually the shoe's on the other foot. You just sit there and complain, say, come and gank my lane. I will carry you. This has got to be an emotionally distressing experience for any AD carry.
Well, for every lane as well. Evie knows he's not going to be in for it. As a guillotine's
Oh,
there,
he's
the
dead.
bleed's down, and Evie falls to first blood. Rocky with a solo kill.
Yeah, Rocky does a lot of work there. Well done on the Darius against the Kennen matchup. Kennen picked into him, keep that in mind. But Rocky had control. Delpain's been up there a few times. It hasn't resulted in a kill, but it has given some lane control over to Rocky, and he's been able to make that work quite nicely.
So it's one of the things you do need to keep in mind as well with that Kai'Sa. When she jumps in with the Killer Instinct, Rocky can always use that apprehend, always can lock her up while the rest of the team try to burst them down, because when you're playing into a funnel comp, if you kill the person who's been funneled, there is no gold on the rest of the team. And then at that point, you've pretty much won the team fight.
Yep, absolutely. If Kai'Sa can die, and if a Darius can get ahead to do exactly that, you're right, could be very impactful. Of course, that's a few minutes away from now, and we're only 8 minutes in, and look at him go.
Oh, Udapon is coming through. It's a 4v2 underneath the turret. Two-man knocker comes out of Rich. The absolute zero being channeled down. And Lloyd just gets popped! A snowball, but to the back of the head, and it's 2 kills for DFM.
There's nothing that Ascension can do. Rich also dies to Steel, who engages and just has the spell shield to keep him going. This looks super simple from Detonation Focus Me. And it's not even reactionary in this case. They just see a chance. They take the chance. They've got the vision in the river. Look at the control wards. The game's theirs right now.
In complete control by Detonation. They had a great game 1 today. Game 2 for them does look just as strong, just as potent. So we're even going to see potentially first turret blood go over to the bot lane dual support. However, Delpain maybe has something to say about that. It's going to throw down the pillar. Is going to get locked up by the tether though. In comes Rich and Lloyd. The rest of the team are looking at it as Vivid's able to find himself 1 kill. Vision of Empire goes on to Seros. Does slow him down a little bit. It's just going to be 1 for Ascension.
A necessary sacrifice, let's say, for Vivid. He keeps the exhaust, doesn't use summoner spells, and does not have the flash. So it's actually a really nice target selection from Ascension in terms of who they were going to focus towards. Now, during all of this time, of course, they saved their first turret in the bottom lane. Doesn't mean they can trade on the other side of the map, though. There's nothing really they can do. Udapon, the support, keep that in mind. It's not really a Nunu jungle. We'll just look at them, realize he doesn't have smite, and waddle away.
It's like, hey, Steel, where are you? Oh, he's recalling? Okay, cool. I can't contest this.
You know, that is actually like a serious issue that this composition provides for people. And I know I'm just going to sit here and rail on AD carries, but I'm a support main, so just deal with it, really. Like, AD carries don't know when to smite camps all the time because they're just not experienced in doing it, right? They don't spend all of their time playing smite as an AD. They recall because they get item spikes and they feel strong. And the top comp does still revolve around them in that respect. But this time around, it is Steel. It is the jungler. It is the Kai'Sa that plays the smite. And for him, it was a higher priority to sacrifice a Cloud Drake. And more so just get item spikes, because really, Cloud Drake doesn't end the game.
Well, we're 10 minutes into the game. 129 CS onto Steel versus G4's 87. He's got himself that Blood Razor finished up, and he's sitting on a pickaxe and a dagger. So working towards that Rage Blade. Feeling nice and comfortable. The rest of the team, you might as well not talk about their items because they're not getting any gold. They're irrelevant, some might say. But if we do have a look at Ascension, they've obviously got these Rod of Ages coming up.
That's the turret to be secured by Detonation Focus Me as well. Easy as you'd like, they'll knock that first one down. Solo gold even given over to Seros, who's normally your mid laner, now featuring himself in that bottom lane. And this is something that we even actually expected from the LJL side. Why not? You know, he's a Heimerdinger main, and Heimerdinger Fiddlesticks is a bottom lane duo right now. So why not put him bottom more often than not? And you'd feel like coming into this tournament, they could be one of the teams that we're going to play a fight or play something different. They're making it work quite nicely so far.
You got to keep in mind, DFM and the rest of LJL are the defending champions of the Pacific Rift, of that cup, but this time, not even going to make it to finals. They can't even defend their own cup. It's going to have either a C logo or an OPL logo on it by the end of tomorrow.
Yeah, unfortunately for the LJL, defending from a plain home, as third place doesn't get anything in Rift Rivals Pacific anymore. It did last year, as you played against second. I'm sure Oceania remembers. Thank you, Gigabyte Marines. And goodbye, Gigabyte Marines.
But even so, it did get hit on the game before here, but there were questions about Southeast Asia. We even asked this on day one of one of the interviews. How are Southeast Asia feeling, knowing that, you know, the Gigabyte Marines and Vietnam were not representing them anymore, who were pretty much the hard carries for this region.
Not even pretty much.
They were the
literally
hard
carried and reverse swept Oceania by themselves in 3 games.
But this time, Southeast Asia don't have the Vietnamese with them. But it doesn't matter. They're looking like a reformed, like a stronger region than last year. And it's great to see the growth from one of these smaller regions.
Well, see, that's hard to say. I think Mineski looked quite good so far, but Ascension also lost their first game to the Chiefs. So, you know, throwing around the word reformed is a pretty big word. Like, that's a big word.
Tyler 1 can spell it, so it can't be that big.
Okay, that's mean.
The whole crowd go, ooh. I didn't get booed that time, so that's okay.
Yeah, dad jokes get booed. Tyler 1. Mild insults are just mean.
Well, Rift Herald will be going down to Ascension as it looks, but actually, I say that, and DFM are looking for the fight. G4 goes in with the Demonic Ascension, and Vivid is already very, very low with his chains, are going to get broken. Nobody's done the fight yet, but Rich is so low still, it's going to fall down! That's the funnel dead! That's the dunk onto Ceres as he bleeds out and falls!
Evie's still going, though.
He is going, but Lloyd is also going. Everybody's trying to find everything as G4 will fall down. Delpain and Rocky chasing after the Kennen, but they cannot quite connect, but a pillar is there from Delpain. He's looking for the arrest. He's looking for the kill, but Evie makes his way out.
Yeah, nowhere to follow that one up, Ascension, and ultimately, there's just people dying left, right. Instead of the end result is that Ascension come out on top. They kill the Kaiser, they kill the Nunu, and the Karma goes down. This is 13 minutes into the game, and a 5v5 like that is very rarely seen at this point, unless they're feeling themselves Detonation Focus Me. You know, you got 2 items done. For Steel, he might have been confident, but confidence isn't going to find a raw team fight victory, and they are made to pay.
Well, we are going to see this team fight once again. Ascension did look like they were going to be able to get that, but a great chomp by Udapom will steal away the Rift Herald.
Also just a big disconnect. They walked in separate flanks. Morgana and Karma were not together shielding the Kaiser, and at the same time, Ascension were grouped up as a 5-man unit trying to go for the Herald. So it's good to get a trade on the backside here, Evie. Ultimately, it's just a little bit too late, as Steel ulted super early to go to his Karma and left his Morgana and then died.
Good fight for Destination, realistically. They were able to get that Rift Herald. We'll have to see what they're going to be able to gain with it, as they are still up in gold, but you got to imagine most of that gold will be sitting on Steel at the moment, who was deleted in the last fight. And Rocky, 2-0. Building towards that Triforce.
Sure is. He wants to duel that cannon, take him down, and even find the Kaiser later on in the game. Works well with the Sterix Gauge also. Darius, a staple items for him as Lloyd's just... There he goes.
Out he goes, trying to put the damage out. Does miss the pierce, but he's going to get bound up. Throws down the culling, and Vivid is able to take him down now. Delpain, he wants to try his hand at both of these two. In comes the quickness, in comes the knock-up, and Delpain says, "You're nicked, Bobby!" And that will be one for him. Seros will be able to stay alive, will be able to get more. Steel launches over the wall, and Seros steals the kill. Now Udapon chasing onto Ridge, got the absolute zero. Ridge hops out with a grand entrance and makes his way out.
Zones him out, and here comes a minion wave as well, so Detonation Focus Me may try and get the turret, but of course G4 just around the corner.
Yeah, uses the Vision of Empire just to go for a bit,
that damage.
Steel's damage is absolutely filthy.
Yeah, Steel had ultimate, maybe he considered going in, but used it to get to the top lane and try and make up for the start of the fight. And that was just one of the weirdest starts to a fight I've ever seen. Lloyd watched the Morgana walk away, was like, all right, this is my moment. Got the karma, got
Now's
the
my
one-on-one. Morgana just walks back, and he's like, all right, I'll just come back and kill you, I guess.
Well, Rocky doesn't have teleport, so he can't do anything about this turret going down. Remember, Rift Herald still hasn't been used by Udapon. Got about a quarter left, so he's going to have to throw that down fairly quick. Gold's very, very close here at 16 minutes still.
Yeah.
But we have the Quicksilver Sash. We have the Rage Blade, the Blood Razor, all finished up on Steel. He's going to be very hard to lock down and kill this time. So he does a lot of damage.
The thing that is interesting to me is Rakan into a funnel composition might actually be very powerful. One thing that Rakan makes difficult is dashes away don't really do anything. You know, he charms you and then he knocks you up. You can QSS a charm, but you're about to get knocked up anyway, so you have to use everything just to disengage. Morgana's Spell Shield will be clutch if Vivid is able to use it. Otherwise, Steel may just die to the Rakan. But still he's scaling up. So whilst the gold is even, note that most of it belongs to Detonation Focus Me's jungler in Steel.
Today I learned I'm an idiot.
Oh,
Delpain had the Rift Herald. For some reason I thought Udapon stole it, but it doesn't matter because Delpain will just fall down to Seros. Able to pick himself up his second kill on the Karma.
Yeah, Delpain certainly had a Herald. Now he has another death next to his name. Some may say that was needless. I would say absolutely that was needless.
They were at least able to get themselves a turret in the mid. Now Steel putting damage out onto G4. He just pops him and deletes him. Rich throws down the quickness just to retreat. Lloyd now on the run, but 3 members chasing him down. Will be able to peel away.
And that is some serious damage coming out of Steel now. He's able to stack up the Guinzu's Rage Blade, get the ultimate over, and the ultimate was just after kill in the end. Overkilling him because he just does so much damage of his own accord. Karma also doing a lot of work. Seros has that flat AP as Heavy just ults his way to safety and over the pit.
Did have to do so as well. Rocky pumping out a lot of damage. You can see the gold right now on your scoreboards. 9,000 gold is how much Steel has earned so far. That is insane.
Yeah, and it's 3,000 more than his opposing jungler, but of course Nunu makes up a lot of the difference there. 6,000 to 4,000 in that middle lane. The difference between the strengths in these builds is that whilst there may be more accumulative gold, perhaps over the 2v2 for the side of Ascension, the one person that has the funneled amount of gold will have the items completed, and those items complete is what enables them to team fight.
Rocky with that finished up Triforce now. Having a pretty good time to Evie, who has built a Blade of the Ruined King, so it's going to be the AD cannon, not that AP cannon we were maybe expecting to see, but with Steel most likely building down the AP route on Kai'Sa as it is the optimal damage route.
Yep.
They just want to balance out, have some AD in their kit because everyone else is doing AP damage otherwise.
You know, Syros, always the innovator, has gone for a GLP 800 and then Ardent Sensor. Doesn't go the Luden's Echo style, doesn't go for the Athene's Unholy Grail. He has decided that this is his build and he likes it.
Or
there
the
are many
Spawn
like
nuke
it,
chucking build.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. That's the Luden's Echo in the Death Cap style build.
Well, for now, Ascension, we're trying to try their hand at that top side, trying to get a turret, but they're not going to be able to do so. Just going to take a Risk Scuttler as their reward. G4 will route 2 up, pulling them in. Does need to be a little careful because Steel, remember, does a lot of damage. Void Seeker connects on Lloyd. He's going to launch backwards. Vision of Empire will send him away. In comes Ridge. In comes the damage. Can they make it work as the absolute Zeal is channeling down? That's going to be 1 onto Steel. He wants a little bit more. He wants to get that damage as G4's there. That's going to be 2. Evie can't quite get the stun down, but it's 2 picks for DFM. And Delpain, he will be soon to follow.
Nunu's just stalking him, hunting him with the Ice Blast, but the rest of Detonation Focus Me has moved over to the Baron, as this is, of course, the ultimate one-on-one. We'll pretend
to be a little careful, as Rocky is there.
And they will smash this extremely quickly. They've got the smite, it's on Steel. Nunu may have regretted his decision and will just probably die.
Flash apprehend, all of the damage, and he gets junked by Rocky.
That's a point where you probably just put your emote up on your dead body. You know, it was worth because we got the Baron. Nunu probably didn't need to die. At the same time, the same thing applies to the Ascension team fight that we saw. They go in, they ask if they could, but they didn't ask themselves if they should be going for that play, and did it anyway.
They attempted to do so, but without Rocky, I don't think the damage to kill Steel is there. And while he was split pushing bot lane, he wasn't able to actually make that happen, even though... Let's have a little look at that play again.
And now it's aggressive from Steel, right? He looks like he's caught by himself. Note that Vivid and Seros just immediately go towards him. Flash is used to keep Steel alive, and then he's stuck in an absolute zero, dealing absolutely no damage. Kennen doesn't actually need to contribute all that much, and they're just able to win the team fight for free.
That's always the kind of horrible part about playing the AD Kennen. The Slicing Maelstrom is pretty underwhelming. The amount of damage it does.
It's all for the stun, to be fair. It's a slicing tickle cannon that just, you know, when you get tickled, you're probably going to get stunned. So I guess that's appropriate.
Looks like he's building towards the Rage Blade as well on this Kennen. So he does obviously want a little bit of AP. It's not really that much, especially...
No, it's for the Blade of the Ruin King, right? Get more Ws off, more stuns, all the Ws.
Yeah. He's got a pickaxe, which is making me think that. Anyway, DFM are stacking up in this mid lane. They have sent Evie with a big wave down that bot side, and Steel is just going to rinse through these turrets. They need to make a fight happen. That's going to be the engage onto Steel. Black Shield will keep him alive. Absolute Zero is there, channeling them away as Rich dives straight onto the backline, but Rocky can't quite find his entrance. Has got the apprehend, but he's just getting liquefied. A stun from Evie. Lands onto Free, and he's managed to find himself one. It's a double kill onto Steel. He's going for the quadra. He's managed to find himself a triple onto Steel. The turrets fall, the Nexus, everything is soon to follow. Yeah, absolutely. Detonation focused me. They get the team fight that once again Ascension attempt to start. They've got 20-odd seconds to just close the game out. Detonation turning their eyes towards the Nexus, turning their eyes towards the victory. 22 minutes on the clock. Steel is an absolute monster, and he gets flattened by Lloyd. Rich now trying to do some kind of magic. All of the Nexus turrets fall, but with Steel dead, the damage is gone, and they can't end the game. All right, call it off. You didn't see anything. The game was not going to end, sure. Steel just dies at the fountain. He buys his Zonias afterwards. We're going for a little bit longer in this game because Detonation Focus Me made it so. Those trolls. Oh, double Rage Blade on the side of Detonation now. They are one fight away from taking this game. And like you said before the cast, you said Destination are going to still go for it. They're still going to try their absolute hardest to get this win. And clearly, it does look like that will be the case. We're going to have a replay here. Yep, and of course Steel, notice that he does get engaged on. The pillar cuts him off, and then he gets pulled in by Swain. Nice little combo. But he's got a Karma, he's got a Morgana. He's even got a Redemption from the Karma right now, who's just gone for that super wacky waving inflatable build. And of course, Evie comes in and does most of the work on the backside afterwards. But they can't kill Steel, so they can't win the team fight Ascension. And very simply, they were just going to lose this game if DFM, specifically Steel, decided that the fountain wasn't too enticing to not walk into. Because they'll probably just come down mid and end it now if they can. They still have Baron on a couple of members. It will time out now, but with the super minions, with Steel being so fed, he's going to go forward, instantly gets rooted up and pulled back. With G4, he's going to lose a lot of health. There's going to be Slicing Maelstrom. They rinse through Evie. That's one already as Udipon's running so low. They're turning it on his head. Ascension! What was that? Lloyd puts the damage down, gets a double kill on the Lucian, and Vivid is getting melted as Delpane's able to pick the kill up. What happened there? You've got to be kidding me. Detonation Focus Me, try and force too hard. Kennen seems to think that he's an AP Kennen and just dies immediately. No stopwatch to keep him alive. And Ascension have just put themselves closer to being back in this game. 2 consecutive team fights. What are Detonation Focus Me doing? Throwing, I think, is the answer to that. Very questionable decision. They just itchy trigger finger, go straight in, and Ascension pick himself up a bunch of kills, get themselves that Infernal Drake. They've actually had superior Drake priority across this entire game. As you can see the play here once again. I mean, it was okay at the very start. Evie perhaps not needing to use the ultimate, and Rich does execute on this fight well. Lloyd's been free hitting the entire time. G4's tanking and dealing damage, right? Like, things are going well for the side of Ascension. Ultimately, DFM
Just thought they'd have a cheeky int down that middle lane after the inhibitor was already gone and tried to push a little bit too hard to make it end. Well, it doesn't end. It goes for a lot longer now.
Oh, well, Rocky could be in a bit of a bad situation. Voidseeker's going to go a little bit wide. He's even going to use that teleport to escape. They cannot stop him. Rocky with the escape. That was style.
Goes back to base. Able to just look at his axe for some reason whilst he's recalling. But yeah, he's able to teleport out to safety. No real need for the teleport, ultimately, as the Darius who's stuck within his base anyway. There is a Baron up in 1 minute and 40 seconds, however. And I think that will be the avenue to victory for the DFM roster. So not having that teleport means he cannot sit on a side lane. And you can see that Evie immediately goes over to set up the wave.
There's probably some doubts in their mind, though, as Ascension setting up a Death Brush. Lloyd is a little bit further away. Just going to clear away the blue for now.
I'm upset they started the blue buff. Like, if you're going to cheese in that bush, you may as well leave the blue free and just kind of make them come over and think they can take the blue. Now it's just going to be a face check.
I think that Voidseeker timed out just before it hit Delphane, so DFM actually don't know where they are. Now they see them on the wave.
I mean, to be fair, when you look at the vision that DFM have got, where else would they be? There's 58 seconds now, so under a minute until the Baron spawns. They have wards inside the base that are just expiring now. Just pure deduction. They're going to be in the blue side jungle.
They have to send Rocky to go deal with those supers pouring in the mid lane, so Destination, fully aware of that, are able to set up a siege in both the bot and the top-hand side of the map.
And we've got our stopwatch for the cannon on Evie, so he will actually be able to use that ultimate in team fights appropriately if he finds the chance now. As you know, you still look at the gold lead, it's only 3,000, but you know full well that control is belonging to that of DFM in multiple positions.
15,000 gold on Steel, where G4 has 9k. The next highest is Lloyd on that Lucian with 12,000 gold. He has 5,000 gold up over the highest gold sitting on Ascension right now.
It's about 3.
Yep, you're right.
There's an 80 carry.
Well, it doesn't matter because Lloyd is just going to get burst up and blown up. You're not going to see Steel hop over the wall. Absolute Zero is going to hold them in place. Rich dives straight in, and they are in trouble. You are completely right. 2 kills instantly picked up. Voidseeker's dodged out, but Steel on the chase.
Oh, and here they go.
Evie's just ending the game. He's just ending the base. There's even a teleport coming through. Seros is here. Seros is here to help.
It's going to be take 3, but there's no Nexus turrets to save them. DFM may have just done it.
They need an absolute miracle to hold it up, and Rich instantly dives in, misses the knock-up. That's going to be the stun down from Evie. This will be the damage as we see Yudapon actually focusing out the Nexus. They're going to blow up G4 and absolutely delete him. It was a bit of a struggle towards the end, but at 28 minutes, DFM managed to take down the Nexus. Ended the game. There we go.
It took him 28 minutes, maybe 6 longer than it perhaps should have. They do play with their food at the end, but DFM did start the game strong, and they ended the game strong, no matter what.
There was definitely some questionable decisions at the end there, but if we ignore those last 3-4 minutes, that early was really, really well played by the side of Detonation. They knew how to play the funnel comp right, and they just executed on it perfectly.
Yeah, there's a couple of things at play there. Firstly, knowing how to play their comp, which you're absolutely right, they did quite well, getting control of the jungle, starting with an invade to the Trundle as well, could put him completely behind, stayed level 1 for 3 odd minutes, and was on struggle street from the beginning. The Trundle on struggle street needs to get something done to get back into the game. So it's nice to see that we have 3 Rockies on stage as well. In case you're wondering, there is absolutely 3 Rockies.
There we go. Just split the man into 3, maybe you'll have more success.
That's the secret to success, absolutely.
But Ascension goes 0-2 on the day. That's obviously them going into the finals tomorrow. They have a rocky start, excuse the pun, that wasn't deliberate, for their games versus OPL tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we could come out of today and potentially just say that the best team from Southeast Asia is their 3rd seed, the team that only got to play 2 games. And I know that's hard to say definitively because the context of who they were competing against was also 3rd seeds. But so far, man, they have been the cleanest looking side.
They've been absolute whitewashes from Mineski. They've been playing very, very well across every game we've seen them in. But obviously tomorrow is a blind relay best of 5. So you have to pick one team Each team has to play at least once, so you're going to have to play all 3 of your teams at some point. If it goes all the way to 5, do you pull Mineski out twice, or do you stick out your top 2? That's the question. We're having a little chat behind the scenes about this. If you're these teams, you put your best team out, your strongest foot forward, or do you invest more in maybe putting out one of your slightly weaker teams to start it out with a day and then go from there?
It's a hard question to really answer. We've done this before. The Oceanic Shoutcasters actually took on the EU casters in 1v1 battles, and knowing who goes first and when is a very difficult thing because it's blind on both sides and you just don't know.
Well, that is a question we will have to find out tomorrow. We still have one more game coming up, so don't go anywhere, guys, and we'll see you after the break.